All right, so I'm live on TikTok. This is going to be a Bill Maher response. The title of this video is called the Participation Trophy Society. This is a clip from the Real Time with Bill Maher. What I'm going to do is I'm going to watch a little about it and then try to give you an overview, and then watch the video, and then stop it and talk about what I wrote about it.
So there's an interesting story in this paper this week about this Dr. Maitland Jones. You guys have kids, right?
Yes.
Kids, I love them.
Do you?
No. Crazy. Anyway, he's a professor. He's not just a professor. He's kind of like a big deal in the world of organic chemistry. In fact, he wrote the textbook. Okay, he's semi-retired. He was at Princeton for years. Now he was at NYU, I think, as a kind of a relaxed sort of professorship. But he was like the man. I remember when I was at Cornell, there was a dude like that in the English department. He had wrote the textbook, and he was very respected. We thought he was 1,000 years old. This guy, I'm sure, is too. Anyway. His course is hard because organic chemistry is hard.
Yeah.
These are kids trying to become doctors. This is free.
Taxing.
You got to know your chemistry. So the course is so hard, they put out a petition asking for him to be fired, and of course the school said no. I'm joking. The school said, of course we will. And they fired this guy for having a course. And it's so interesting. He said after COVID, the kids came back. He said not only did they not study, they seemed to not know how to study. He said they were misreading exam questions at an astonishing rate.
Okay, so I think this really highlights that education... wipe them crumbs up, boy. Do I have stuff on me? I think that's lint. So I think this highlights that education should really be a dialogue, and it needs participation. A lot of people learn differently. Some are auditory learners, some are visual learners, some are experiential, they have to get hands-on. So what I'm going to be showing with this is, if America is charging what Chris Christie says is $70,000 for an education at Notre Dame or wherever his other son is going, you should be getting things for that, a lot for that, housing and materials. You shouldn't have to pay for your books. So I'm going to go over the history of how we got here, that this is what America education has become. But you should be getting so much more for your education if you're paying that much money. Just think if you, all of these, for me as a hip hop artist, I have all of these courses that I can pay for to get you to learn how to, make a LLC or a business, or hire people, or get people to outsource your video making, stuff like that. So, you pay for that stuff. Just imagine if you paid for this education. It doesn't seem proportional. The product that you're getting is not as good as it should be compared to what you're paying. So I don't think it's corrupt liberal teachers that require insanely high pay. The problem is dumb people. Well, I think the problem is the system that we've set up that has made it economically unviable to get a higher education in America. In other countries, education for their citizens is free, so you can better yourself and get a skill and not worry about failing, which would make your economic vitality diminish. So let's see.
So we can talk about COVID in a minute and whether we handle that right. But for now, I just want to ask about the kid question and what's going on in colleges question, because it does seem to me that the inmates have taken over the asylum.
Okay, what if this isn't the kids, this is the parents? And actually what's happened is that American universities have become so expensive. It's $60,000. By the way, you can go to Cambridge University in the UK for $20,000. So if anyone's looking for a bargain, head over there. But
very reputable university, $20,000.
And they refer to the parents, the people who pay the tuition fees, is what the email firing this guy referred to. And actually, it's all these parents saying, hold on a second, this is a crappy deal. I'm paying $60,000 a year, and little Johnny just failed organic chemistry. I want a better product.
Yeah, and that's what I think is the quality of education hasn't changed the more money we've paid. It would be one thing if, they came to your house like at-home doctors, and they taught you there, or made it easier for you to get that education, or it made labs where you could go in and they spent money on resources for you to experience the education instead of just reading it out of a textbook. But the level of quality hasn't gone up.
I'm going to put this as much on the parents as on the kids, that they're the ones that are starting to say, we have to have our kids pass everything. If your kid doesn't pass, he shouldn't pass because he probably shouldn't become a doctor. Yeah. I mean,
that's true. And you shouldn't become a doctor if you're not willing, or you can't understand, or you just can't get there. But you shouldn't be saddled with debt because you failed, and that's what's different from here and from different countries. If you fail, you're saddled with debt, so you can't get that high paying job, so you can pay off those debts. No, you're just stuck at an average paying job with a large amount of debt. So it's really taken away the economic motivation to get a higher education in America. So this will be in my YouTube. This will be on my YouTube. Yeah. Bring down the cost of American university.
Absolutely foreseeable result of the participation trophy society.
I don't think it is. So this is where I'm going to go into my thing. I don't think this has much to do with the participation trophy society and everything to do with economic vitality. America has made it a rigged game where if you don't succeed, you get punished with crippling debt without the means for economic mobility. America likes to talk about freedom. Where's the freedom to get a higher education? We tied it to economic means, so it's a privilege for the wealthy. Real freedom is economic freedom, and America's policy puts students into debt slavery. Just like with marijuana laws and how we have a medicine illegal, the reason it costs to go to school is because of racism. Basically, Abraham Lincoln started the first free public university. And then I think during segregation, somewhere along the line, they wanted to prevent black people from going to school. So they started charging for tuition because blacks were poor and couldn't afford it. After they figured that out, they were still charging for education. And then things went haywire, I think in the 1950s or 70s, where the American government approved loans for tuition. This led universities to figure out they could charge whatever they wanted for tuition, and then price has steadily gone up since. But this effectively took away an avenue of wealth accumulation by charging a large amount to obtain a skill or an education that could get you a better job. We have taken financial motivation to better yourself and become more skilled. We have taken away the financial motivation to better yourself and become more skilled. This is a failure of the American educational system and economic policy. College is free for many citizens in many other Western nations, just like healthcare. I think we're about a step away from universities being in crisis, just like housing and healthcare in America, because of economic policy. So I agree with Caddy K that universities are so expensive, the students have to succeed or they're saddled with huge debt and an underpaying job. And then I agree with her that for that money you deserve a better product. And then
sorry, right? And they were playing 6 and 7-year-old soccer. Everybody had to get a trophy, right? Now those 6 and 7-year-olds who are all getting the trophies are now at NYU. And they're like, What the hell are you talking about? I've got to pass organic chemistry by studying.
What do you mean I got to
Just
pass
give
or
me
I'm
my grade
saddled
and
with
go
debt?
on. And it is are now at NYU. And they're like, what the hell are you talking about? I've got to pass organic chemistry by studying. Just give me my grade and let me go on. And it is...
You made it an economic motivation where you have to succeed or you get punished economically.
We've done this, and I agree with Caddy. The parents who are running the soccer leagues set up this thing where, I don't want my child to have disappointment. I don't want them to be failed.
Hi, your Aunt Judy. Thank you.
And so my remedy for this, Bill, was I've made all of my children New York Met fans, so they know pain and disappointment from the very beginning.
And send them to a university that does not cost an obscene amount of money, so if they fail, you don't feel like you bought a crap product.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I have 2 children.
It's not that, and she said, so when you fail, you don't feel like you bought a crap product, but then you're still saddled with the debt without the economic means to pay it off. The whole point of go to college was to get into a better job, so better paying job for economic vitality and mobility.
Right now, my oldest son's at Providence College in Rhode Island. It's go Friars. It's $74,000 a year, and I have a daughter at Notre Dame, and it's $72,000 a year. It's insane.
And you're paying that?
And
Average person can't afford that.
loans, and we're going to do all the rest of this stuff so that there's no price pressure at all on colleges. And then they're going to fire professors. Why are we even bothering going?
You think that...
This is where we're at. The policy for America is where we're at. Why we even bother getting a higher education? Because we've made it so economically unattainable, unviable. Yeah.
Lowering the standard of exams in places around the world. You think China, they're saying,
I remember when I was at Eastern Michigan University, and my Peter Schmitz was a historian. He was talking about how Oxford, I think, got rid of their Greek-speaking professor. They always thought it was necessary, but they didn't think it was necessary anymore. It's just things like that. What do they do? Universities, what do they do with their money? I've heard that Harvard is so big, their endowment is so big, they have the money to send every student there for free that gets in, but they still charge. They don't need to charge, but they do. So it's just like oil, where we don't healthcare and drugs, where we don't cap it. They're making way more money, but they don't need that money to run it. And proof of that is other countries and this country before racism. So let's see.
let's make our organic chemistry exams easier so that our kids don't have to...
I don't think they should make organic game.
No,
Maybe-
I don't think they should make tests easier.
You have to pass organic chemistry.
Maybe the answer is better Adderall.
The answer is more dialogue and interactive classes. Of course they're not going to learn. You give them a book and tell them to learn organic chemistry through a book over the pandemic, and that's what they're doing. They're not going into class. They're not supposed to have class. The human element is not there. You need to be able a different type of learning.
I'm just going to say, I don't know what schedule that's on, but...
That was the whole point of higher education. Going back to the first academia and Lyceum records, is to have a lifestyle and be involved in the experience of getting an education. It's not just a book. It's not just lectures. It's a whole experience. It's dialoguing with your classmates and your faculty, asking questions, doing the actual producing of product, whether it's written or oral or all that stuff, presenting.
Deal on that if you trade the pot and the Adderall.
We'll try Chris on that tomorrow.
Someday I'm going to get you high, and you're going to think,
Can't wait.
Okay. On that note, that was it. This will be up on my YouTube. I just talked about the university system and how America has made it economically unviable to get an education, and that's why we're having problems with it. And I think American universities are soon going to be in crisis. Anyways, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for being a part of my family. You're awesome. I love you very much. And until next time, you take care. Peace.